public hearing to order. This is for the proposed secondary 6-year plan. Go ahead.
Good evening.
Hey,
Good to see you all this evening. So I will say that while I'm here, I'm sure that y'all got some other stuff that you probably might want to mention to us that's outside of that. But if we can, I just want to focus to start with on the 6-year plan part of it. So kind of just giving you a little bit of refresher and a background is that used to be that we had money that we could do secondary road improvements, like on hardtop roads, like taking curves out, rebuilding hardtop roads on new alignment and so forth. And the General Assembly and VDOT changed that process with the Smart Scale program a few years ago to where that secondaries and primaries and everything are all included together in that process of the Smart Scale. So that's really honestly why we're not really seeing a lot of, hardtop secondary roads other than what we do like with coal fund projects and stuff like that we supplement with whatever those being done. The part that they left with the residencies and with the County Board of Supervisors to continue doing is the unpaved road part. And so statewide, there's $25 million that's set that they allocate for unpaved roads. And that money is handed out by formula according to the amount of unpaved roads that you have. So here in Dickinson County, as an example, I think we're down to the part that which in some ways is a good thing, is that we only have like 10 to 15 miles of unpaved road left, okay? And so for a road to qualify to be on the unpaved road list, it has to be with a traffic count greater than 50 is to be eligible for it to be constructed, okay? So, and I'm, I've been here twice. I was gone from 2019 to 2022, and so during that time, some roads got built and completed, and then there was roads added to the plan. I don't know if some of you all were on the board whenever they were added or not, but we've got 2 roads that are on the plan now that are unpaved roads that we're working toward funding so that we can eventually get to where that we can build them. And one of them is 644 Little Caney Ridge, and that's about, let's see, the short section, isn't it, Joey?
Yeah, it'll be done in phases.
Yeah. So we've got one section over here that the total cost of it is going to be like $605,000. And we've accrued $261,000 of it. And so we're working toward getting the funding going out to get it to the point that we can to build it. And the county presently is getting in the unpaved road funds out of that $25 million, getting around $90,000 a year out of that. In the first 3 years, the last 2 years of the plan, it's showing 60,000, but those numbers, they always are subject to change every year, so that's why we come and do this every year. So we've got like 483,000 through the 6-year period to go to the unpaved roads. Then we also have another fund that the county receives money that's not unpaved road money. that's called the telefee money. That money again, as a reminder, is, not a lot of us have got landlines anymore, but if you still do have a landline at home, you can look in there and there'll be a little fee that's down there in your telephone bill. They usually pass that right along, and they collect that, and that is a fee that's collected for the allowing the telephone companies for their poles and so forth to be on VDOT right of way. And so we get an allocation here like almost $28,500 every year for that. So we've got like $170,000 over a 6-year period there with that. So what we generally do with that money is, you know, from time to time, we have these roads that are like not in the system that we want to try to put some money toward to try to do that. And so we generally put that on the rural addition money. And that's where it's programmed in this budget, so that we have money for that. We also put it in some of the county services money, so that if when we have meetings and we want to do a study about whether this road be taken in or not, or whatever, and we need to do some engineering costs with it, then we charge to that money as well. That's what we use to pay for some of the work that we do when we're asked to do things. So in total, in a 6-year period, we've got like $654,000, okay, for the 6-year period. That's spread out over the 6 years. Okay, so the way that the present plan is now, we have Little Caney Ridge, as I told you, it's got a cost total of about $605,000.
On that one, are you going down to, it's already paved so far out there, are you going on down towards where the old swimming pool was?
Yeah, that phase, I believe it starts where that paved section ends
And then go
continues.
on down,
And go on down.
which comes out up on Flat Top.
Okay, so that's one, and in order for us to be able to get to construction on that, adding up what money we've got on the books already, plus what we're gonna add to it, it shows that that project will be able to go to construction in 2030 because of the amount of money that we're getting, okay? All right, then the other project that's on the plan that would, the way that the plan is listed now would come after that, is Route 707 Lockhart Loop. That's about a quarter-of-a-mile piece of road, I think, that's in there listed, and it's like $140,000 project. So once we get that, get the money accrued and funded for Little Caney Ridge, then we start putting the money over on Lockhart Loop. And will take a while for that too. And again, the reason that money is the way that it is because of the number of miles that we have. Statewide, it's all ranked that way. The number of unpaved road miles that you have is how that 25 million gets split up. So like one of our neighbors here, like that's in our residency, like Scott County as example, they still have like 252 miles of unpaved road. So they're getting a pretty good sum of money to go toward theirs, but they still got a lot of work to do in order to get all those. So the purpose of this hearing is to come to you each year to update that allocation total as we've got. Even though it'll take some time, so there'll be more trips coming by. Probably, if my plan goes well, 2 or 3 more for me. And then if all goes good, then Joey or somebody else will be able to update it then after that. But up until that time, to where it gets funded, then we'll be just keep adding money on there as what money becomes available to do that.
Excuse me, Lockhart Loop, that's all paved out there. What are you talking about?
It's 727 is what's,
Is that out there where
Joey can look it up too.
Who lives out there? Like, is that where Bobby Kern Stanley
It
lives?
is, yeah.
Oh,
It's-
yeah, that's
it's
not
all
paved.
Okay,
Bobby Kern Stanley, and then the pharmacist lives out there. Yeah.
okay, so it's an unpaved road. It has to be
Yeah, it is.
unpaved for this money to be able to be on it.
And so you estimate that will be paved when you just got 140,000, that's not gonna go very far.
Well, that's how much it will cost, but it'll have to start getting its money after we start getting these others funded. So you're probably talking another 10 years before it'll get enough money on it to fund it. Yeah. Okay. So again, the hearing purposes for the public hearing is to receive comment on just what I've gone over with you now on the unpaved road part. Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, that's, unless you all have questions for me, that's all that I have to go over for you with this one.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. Were we not told to pick some unpaved roads and and you said to pick one out of it?
Right, that's not part of this,
That's
this
not
was the-
part of this.
No,
When we have to have that done by August or something?
yeah, as soon as possible, we get them back to Joey from, that's from the Coal Road
And that was
Committee.
for roads that were not in the
Not-
system.
Not in the system.
Not in the system already, to look toward rural addition to bring in, because we know that you've got roads that's there for that, and there are different funding mechanisms. We can use a smidge bit of money toward that out of here, we'll get you, a little bit, but the real true way of getting, any bang for your buck out of that will be, you can use revenue sharing, or you can put total coal money for it, but I'd recommend that you did revenue sharing because you're gonna get a dollar for dollar match on those. For that purpose. You can, so the state can help you with those, but not with this money.
Okay, thank you.
I guess got any
Yeah, I
questions?
got one question. The LFE money,
Yes, sir.
you said you kind of use it for what purpose?
We use that for like if we get, the engineering, like engineering study requests that come in, like what we just talked about, when we get your list of roads, and we have to have any surveying work or anything like that done in order to get information, then we will charge to that. That will be money that we'll use to pay for looking into these rural, addition money for the telefee. And then, we also can use that put toward those rural addition projects.
Do you know how much is in that
Yes,
particular?
we currently have a balance of 67,000 stored in that. And we're talking about, putting, probably the bigger part of that 28,000 that you're gonna get every year into that. So you're talking,
100,000.
28.5 over a 6-year period amounts to $171,000. But not all of that will go in that. Like I said, there'll be some of it will go over that engineering money as well.
Okay.
Just enough to just cover what we need to do.
It can be used for other things too, right?
It can just be used for the engineering and the rural additions.
Is Joey gonna speak, or just you?
If I get in too deep, he's gonna speak.
Well, like I told you, I wanna make mention of the,
That's what we were gonna get to next.
you gonna talk about that? Okay,
Yeah,
all
we're
right.
gonna get on to that next.
Thank you.
Okay. Like I said, I just want to try to keep us on the unpaved road part to start with.
Can I speak? Can I
Yes.
ask a question? On that list for for August, for the next co-road meeting, about roads coming in, I have listed on that, a road near me on Dyers Chapel Road, but I also have one listed for Bear Ridge, which is off of Ailey Road, just a little bit across from Jasper Lane. Do you all already pave that? Is that already a state road that is just, I mean, scrape it, and it's just not paved? It's a dirt road, but do you all
Haley-
scrape it?
Haley Ridge is a state road.
Right. What about
Okay.
Bear Ridge that runs off to the
Bear- I'm
right?
not sure if Bear Ridge is not in the system now, then we would not scrape it.
It is.
Yeah, so
I
Okay.
think it's
I
scraped.
think
Okay.
Bear Ridge, it is an unpaved road.
Already
So
in.
it would be, it could receive these unpaved road
Okay.
funds. It's gonna be one of the one Alan was talking about, the 10 to 15
Okay,
miles of unpaved.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
again, we'd have to look and see, the traffic count's got to be above 50.
Right.
And that's where a lot of your roads that kind of affects the money that you're getting to, is that there has to be, they look at it from the amount of roads that
Right.
show a traffic count above 50 toward that. So if you don't have but 10 miles of roadway out of that 15, as example, that is above 50, then that's all you're getting allocation for.
Okay.
Okay,
Is that 50 per day?
yes.
Well, let me ask you something. Are they 50 down Caney? Or Little Caney, Little Brushy? You said Little Brushy. Little Caney.
Little cane.
Is there 50 people go across there?
According to the last traffic count, yes.
Boy, it's strange. I've been through there. There's no houses from where the old Caney Creek pool used to
Till you
be.
get to
The flat
Flat
top. There's no houses.
We would have verified that it had 50 before it went in. It gets checked by the time it goes through our
It must be a quick
district
shortcut
office
for
and
some people.
and
I guess it
everything.
is. I don't know.
So, or someone has gone through and get it eligible, they've drove through the traffic
I
count.
thought about doing
Yeah,
that.
we could do that.
Could we do that?
So it does work.
Okay. But they had to spend a lot of gas to do that, because
Well,
we
who
leave the
cares?
county, we leave the county for about a week, so they had,
I just can't see, I mean, I know where that is, and man, it is a lonesome road.
okay. So that, again, that's all I've got for the unpaved road.
Y'all must have done it of a nighttime.
Yeah, now, out Bear Ridge, there's traffic, there's people that works out through there. I think the gas wheel people run that road.
Well, I'm sure
Check
there's
on
probably a
wheels
lot of
and
traffic
stuff.
down through there.
Yeah.
Not like there was when it was
Yeah.
swimming
When the
pools down
pool-
there.
Mr. Chairman, I just didn't ask them to see if anybody's got any comment or anything.
Yeah, does anyone have any public comment? Would anyone like to call in? The number's 276-333-0357.
So, that one could probably come off of my list.
It's all right.
After I got to thinking about that, I think that's
Well,
like that.
A little bit behind, if there's no public comment, we'll
Yeah.
move on.
Took a grader across the place.
Are you
Yeah, go
done
ahead.
now?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you're closed with that hearing part then?
Unless you
We got another public
had
hearing.
something to.
No, I don't have anything
Well,
with that.
we've got another public hearing we gotta do.
Okay.
You said you was gonna talk about the paved road.
Well, I'm just going to, what I will do, since we're here for this, I'm gonna leave with you. This is pretty straightforward, okay? What I would ask to do, since you've got another hearing and stuff to do, is that if you have some kind of concern, you can send it to Larry, and Larry's always good about forwarding, or you can put in a work order for us. But what I did want to give you, real quickly, I will just tell you, that these are the, is a kind of a list, and it has the latex routes, which I like to compare it to what we're doing, like when people overlay their driveways, put the driveway sealer on them. It's our version of putting the driveway sealer on the roadways. It extends the life of the asphalt for us by putting that on there. These is for the secondary roads. And then the pavement roads there will receive plant mix overlay, the full overlay, like the one, Shelby, you were mentioning. It's on there, Rachel's Chapel is listed there on the back. These are the ones we will be doing this year.
Well, now, Wade told me they was gonna do Caney Ridge also. 649, he's told me they was gonna do 649 with that, what you call them, the overlay.
The overlay. We can check on it. This is what we have on there as the list right now.
And Rock House, they were supposed to do Rock House too.
Was that coal money or was that, with this?
I don't know, he told me that they were gonna do that overlay.
I was thinking that that might be coal money, but we'll get that and get back to you. Okay?
Okay.
All right?
Okay,
And then, Ms. Slush, you
I wanna make sure that I mention that road that you said would be repaved in 2026.
yes.
Whispering Pines,
Whispering Pine Road is on the schedule for next year. It would be on this list next year.
but you were going to do some pothole
We will work to see if it needs any immediate pothole
patching.
patching. Yes.
Thank you.
And then we also, just for you, your, for the flood recovery that we've been doing, just the list there, we had 54 permanent repair sites that we're working to get the FEMA reimbursement on. We're about 15% complete on those. We're using hired equipment and state forces there with that. And just the pickup of slide debris, tree debris, and everything with that, we're about 85% complete with that. Okay, so I don't want to tie you all up. I'm not trying to avoid you or whatever, but I mean, but I did want to just bring this to you so you can look this over. But as always, if you've got questions or whatever, then you can send them. Wade is still out, so I would just encourage you, if you've been emailing with him, that you email Joey or me, whatever. David Hampton, I think some of you,
Yeah.
maintenance manager, work with him. So you need to contact any of us, and I hope that Greg and guys down there at Fremont are doing a good job for you.
they're doing a great job.
We're on County Ridge now.
Okay.
We just need more employees over here.
Yeah,
They're kind of
we
short.
need that everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you all, have a good night, okay?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Need to get a, no one, public comment, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the, public hearing on the secondary roads.
I hear a
Second.
second. All right, we've got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. The meeting is adjourned, and we'll call the next public hearing to order for the Community Development Block Grant, urgent need number 2.
Mr. Chair, if I could give an overview of this grant process, this is our second required public meeting. And with this is through the urgent needs in response to the February flooding. And what we're looking at doing, we're partnering with Dixon County Public Service Authority. And they are looking to do 9 permanent fixed mount generators that would go at Rakes Ridge, Backbone Ridge 1, Steve's Branch, Rock Lick, Brushy Ridge 1, 2, and 3, and Hazel 1 and 2. All those are their most inaccessible routes during bad weather, trying to get a portable generator to them. At the same time, they would be adding additional automation, telemetry for the Ailey tank, Keith Hollow tank, Nancy tank, Keith Hollow pump station, Nancy pump station, and Waukegan pump station. And looking at both of these projects, this would definitely benefit us during times of extended power outages at continuing to provide public water to the residents in those areas. So, and we appreciate Cumberland Plateau's help in putting this together. Debbie's been a great asset putting this application. Dennis and Crystal and everybody at PSA has been great to work with. So again, this is our second public hearing that's required on this before it's submitted. So I'll try to answer any questions that you all have, or if the public has anything, then we'll address those as well.
Anybody have any questions?
The maintenance on these generators, we've talked about that before. Is that
That
gonna
would
be
fall,
something?
that would fall under the PSA's purview.
Okay.
After that, it would.
So the PSA will take over the maintenance after they're installed.
after they're installed, yes.
Do we have anyone, public comment?
Is this the only thing the grant's gonna be able to provide?
It is on this grant, as far as some of the restrictions, there is additional funding, the DHCD, was supposed to have announced by the 20th, they're running a little behind on getting the program put together, but we do think that is gonna be the one that's gonna offer more relief to our residents through their mitigation program. And we're ready to move forward and step up on that, once that opens up, so.
Okay.
Again, the phone number for public comments, 276-333-0357.
Mr. Chair, I got one more question for Mr. Martin, if you don't care.
Okay.
DSA right now has portable generators to do
Correct.
these
They do.
with, so once we get these installed, that'll free those portables up maybe, or?
Not really, they jockey them around from the different locations right now. They have 8 portables.
Oh, so they didn't
that they
have one
move.
for each
No, they didn't have
location?
one for each. They would have to move from station to station,
one's
so those
going
will still be much
forward.
needed, so,
Okay.
yes.
There's a permit.
They were trying to identify the ones that were the most inaccessible during inclement weather, and try to get permanent fix mount at those locations.
Yeah,
That would be easier to get their portable generators at some of the other locations.
so they're still gonna utilize
They'll
all
still be
of them.
utilizing all the
I know
generators.
some still there. We don't, everybody, we won't ever go without one. Maybe cold. Water.
Got no public comment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Second.
second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well.
Minute before our next one.
Oh, minute.
Message I sent you from Mary Anderson.
O'clock, we'll call a regular meeting to order. And ask Mr. Barton if he would lead us in prayer.
Sure. Let us pray. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we so humbly come before you once again this evening, Lord, and Lord, just asking a blessing over our meeting, Lord, and asking a blessing upon our county, Lord, and the citizens of our county, Lord. Lord, just pray that you'll be with us, Lord, that you'll guide our supervisors tonight, Lord. Give them wisdom, Lord, as they look to you for direction and making decisions on the county, Lord, that affects everyone. Lord Jesus, we just pray for all those that are sick and hurting and afflicted, Lord. Lord, just be with us all, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Does everyone stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're down to approval of the minutes. Do we need to separate this, or we do them all together?
We do them all together, Mr.
I
Chairman.
make a motion that we do them all together, and I make a motion that we approve all of them. All of us has had a chance to read them.
I'll second that.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye as well. All right, then we need to approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, before you, our clerk, Ms. Lyle, left an addendum here. It's got 2 items. It's got item 4J, which would be the county attorney's invoice, and item 11B, which is the resolution that we need to pass based on the second public hearing we had on the community development block grant.
Thank you, Mr. Barton.
one was on the block grant?
It's on the
And what
community
was
block
it?
grant.
It was 11.
Yes,
Maybe.
11B.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda with those 2 additions added to it.
I'll second it.
I have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Right now, we're down to the,
We need to approve J right now.
As part of the
Yes,
consent
part of the
agenda.
consent, yes, ma'am.
It's already added to the agenda. Now, once you approve the consent agenda, J would be approved with that.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah, that-
Okay.
so we don't have to make a motion on it, okay?
now we have the consent agenda. Anything need to be separated out?
I don't think so. I think it can all be approved together if the board so desires.
All right. A motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, item A through J.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second for the consent agenda, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well.
I probably should have spoke up. Can I go ahead and speak on this?
Yeah.
In looking over the rescue squad, I noticed, I think there have been 7 calls during last month for DOA. I noticed a couple for overdose, and it's real sad how many, don't know the reason for the DOAs or, if it was other issues or what, but it's just sad that they've been that many in a month. Okay.
It is. We work a lot of natural deaths as well.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll open the floor for public comment. Anyone would like to make a comment, step up to the podium. Can you give us the guidelines,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgeon?
Upon recognition by the chairman, the speaker shall address himself to the chairman, and if at the conclusion of his remarks, any member of the Board of Supervisors desires further information, the member will address the speaker only with permission of the chairman. Time limits, there shall be a time limit for each individual speaker of 3 minutes. A representative of a group may have up to 5 minutes to make a presentation. The person identified as the representative shall identify themselves at the beginning of his or her presentation for the group. Speakers are not permitted to donate time to other speakers. No speaker shall be extended their time except by unanimous consent or 2/3 vote of the board members present. Prohibited conduct. Persons appearing before the board will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use profanity, use language which insults or demeans any person, and/or when directed at public officials or employees when not related to his or her official duties. However, citizens have the right to comment on the performance, conduct, and qualifications of public figures, make frivolous statements, interrupt other speakers, or engage in behavior that disrupts the meeting, and engage in behavior that intimidates others, address the board on issues that do not concern the services, policies, or affairs of the county. Thank you.
Everybody knows me, I'm Dale Mullins, Chief of Sandy Beach Volunteer Fire Department. This is my assistant, Chief Cody Rittenberry. As the board knows, Mr. Chairman, that we've come over here in numerous times about our brush truck. Our brush truck has been down now for 2 years, out of service. We come requesting a new truck, and the board just doesn't have the funds to do so. So, with that being said, we got to doing some talking, and we think we have come up with a solution with the board's help that will help us, and we can make do for a few more years until the county can build the account enough till we can purchase a new brush truck. And that is, we have a 2014 GMC 2500 Duramax, all right? We're going to turn that into a brush truck. We would like to purchase a 200-gallon water tank with a 5-gallon foam cell in it, with a 1-inch, 100-foot hose reel to go in the back of it. It'll also have a hookup for 1 3/4 inch with a hose bed that will hold 100 foot of 1 3/4 inch line. It will also have storage space on top to where we can put our leaf blowers, we can put our chainsaws. Underneath, we have room to put our rescue jacks, and extra hose and other tools if need be. And this will take the place of our brush truck. And we have sent Larry numerous quotes on the skid. The one that will suit us both the most is from Eastern Fire Equipment Services. And the cost of it is $14,112.97. We would just like to request some help on purchasing this so we can have us another brush truck. This past spring fire season, you know, we had numerous fires in our coverage area. Our brush truck was down, so they had to bring in the brush truck from Hayside. This will take care of that. And we're only losing 100 gallons of water. Our other truck only hauled 300 gallons. So we're only losing 100 gallon water in this truck. We also have purchased a 2015 GMC 2500 HD. And it's a gas motor, to turn it into our support truck. Or our command truck, it'll be our command truck, I'm sorry. So, if the board, you know, could see fit to help us purchase this, it would be a tremendous help for us. And like I said, we can make do with this for 2 or 3 more years or longer if we have to, till the board's funds build up, till they can purchase us a regular, larger brush truck.
And time's up.
Larry has pictures of the unit.
We'll review what you got, Dale. Your time's up now.
Huh?
I said, we'll review what you sent Larry,
Okay.
and we'll take it under consideration. We don't do anything at a meeting. We take it under 30-day consideration.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Chairman, may I ask him how many miles is on the 2014?
Do I?
How many miles is on the 2014?
It's got
Gears?
100,000 miles.
And the one that we was gonna repair only has 38,000.
Excuse me.
And the one we was gonna repair only has 38,000, right?
I also talked with the mechanic on that. I know you mentioned J.R. Moore talked to you about rebuilding the motor in that truck. I went and talked to Jeremy, the mechanic, and he said, yes, they could rebuild the motor for $8,000, but at the end of the day, you still got a used motor, you still got a 6.0, and you're still gonna have the same problem. So, either way we go, we're still gonna be in the same boat we are right now, you know. And I think this is an easy, quick fix, and we could really make do with it. I mean,
Thank you, Dale.
you're welcome. Thank y'all.
Mr. Chair, I shared that with y'all by email, if you'll recall. It's been, I want to say about 3 weeks ago or something, the
Yeah.
pictures and quotes on that unit, so.
okay. Anyone else public comment?
Refresh my mind.
Anyone like to call in? Numbers 276-333-0357. Nobody's come up. Don't have anybody on the line. I hear a motion to adjourn public comment.
I make a motion that we adjourn public comment.
I second it.
Got a motion and second to adjourn public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. All right, move on to item number 6. Stick on that. Amanda Hall is gonna, UVA wise, Dixie County Raft Resilience, Adaptation, Feasibility. Tool update, I can't say, I had to get my glasses.
That is a mouthful, and he's getting us set up, I think. My
Okay.
colleague Ian Baxter from UVA Charlottesville is going to join us on Zoom.
Okay,
Yeah.
Make sure I'll be in the lights and once we can see that.
all right, thank you.
Amanda, can you see?
I can't, yeah, thank you.
You can expand,
I'm
you
getting
can
him on the line
expand
now.
that screen.
Okay. Now I'll get the clicker.
Look,
Welcome to Google Meet. Enter the meeting pin followed by the pound key.
look here. Take your fingers and stretch out.
Thank you. You're joining a call with 2 other people.
I have to do that to read it.
Ian, are you able to hear us?
Yes, sorry about that.
Hey Ian, welcome to the meeting.
Hi, y'all.
As soon as we get this on the screen, we'll get going with our update. Quick introductions. I'm Amanda Hall. I'm the community builder for the UVA Raft project that we've been working on in Dickinson. It is a community, meaning economic, social, and environmental resilience project. And we are entering phase 2, so we are excited to share with you a little update from phase 1. All right, Ian, I think you're ready to go.
All right, I'm seeing, let's see.
It's on the first slide. Can you see that?
No, I can only see the community conversation piece right now. Might just be, gotta minimize it or something. Ah, there we go. Great. Yes, I can see it. Can everyone hear me fine?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you all again for the opportunity to present for the board today. My name is Ian Baxter. I know I've met you all, and I'm actually heading down to Clinwood tomorrow. I had a few meetings in Charlottesville. I wasn't able to move, so I really appreciate everybody's flexibility in zooming me in. I know it's not necessarily the easiest or most efficient way of doing a presentation, but like Amanda said, we're here to talk a little bit about the raft, tell you all about what we've done so far, and then let you know about sort of where we're going and what the next steps look like. So with that, I can jump right in. I know that some of you all are familiar with the raft. You've been participants in some of our community conversations, or otherwise talk to Amanda or myself or Larry or Dana. But the raft, what it is essentially a resilience building tool, which stands for the Resilience, Adaptation, and Feasibility Tool, which is kind of a mouthful. And really what we're thinking about is the community's ability to withstand, prepare for challenges, withstand disasters and emergencies, and then thrive after the fact. That's what we mean by resilience, which is often kind of an ambiguous word, and so we wanted to establish that as we conducted this work here in Dickinson. This is a totally free program to localities. It's a 3-university partnership. We work with Virginia Tech and Old Dominion University, and I would be remiss to mention, obviously, our partners at UVA-wide too, which we consider a part of the UVA umbrella. And if you go to the next slide, you can see sort of the footprint of where we've actually conducted the raft. It's primarily been in the eastern part of the state, so different parts of the Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck, moved a little bit further west into Petersburg and Hopewell.
And now we are working with 2 Southwest Virginia localities, obviously Dickinson and Carroll County. And so those are sort of the 2 most western localities that have engaged in this process. But yeah, this is just a quick overview of sort of where we've been. We can go to the next slide. So this is really what we're talking about when we say resilience. So we sort of believe that community resilience is made up of economic, social, and environmental resilience. This might look familiar if you've had the opportunity to come to some of the focus groups, community conversations. But really, a lot of programs that focus on resilience only try to build up one of these 3 sort of pillars. And what we're trying to do with the RAP is identify gaps within each of those 3 sort of components of resilience, and then try and find some solutions that we can begin to give a county some momentum, whether that's working with us over a year of implementation or working into the future with perhaps some of the tools that get established during that year. And so the process itself is this 3-step process, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the first 2, and we'll get into the 3rd one in a moment, and I think you can change the slide. But the first is what we call basic assessment. So we obviously are new, to these localities that we work with. And I should really mention and sort of shout out, I really want to shout out, Dana and Larry's, work with us, welcoming us into the community and allowing us to be connected to the folks that have sort of the answers for some of the questions that we ask. And I'll let Amanda talk a little bit about the community conversations, but the scorecard is, where we start. And this assessment, phase is basically, we go through a lot of different policies and plans within the locality to kind of determine gaps. We combine it with questions that we ask directly to community members, stakeholders from, the planning district or community college system. Obviously, emergency services are a key part of resilience work. And we basically take that and put it into what we call an opportunity list. And that list is essentially 10 to 12 items that we feel like are accomplishable within a year with support from either our team right now, different faculty or classes at universities that we work with, state agency partnership, or actually going and pursuing grants and funding it that way. And so that list at our action workshop, which is going to be happening next week, and Amanda will talk a little bit about that, the community members kind of decide of that list, that menu of options, what we're going to pursue. And, we've worked obviously with Dana and Larry to narrow that list down and make sure that the county isn't being caught, unawares with sort of what we're suggesting, which is important. But yeah, and then from that, we form what we call implementation teams, which are basically a team of volunteers that have agreed to kind of help us shepherd this stuff across the finish line over the course of the year. So we organize all those meetings, we provide stipends for participation, and we work to, connect the action item with the appropriate capacity and resource. But that's a key thing, and that's really, I think, what distinguishes this process from a lot of other ones, that is community-driven, in that we are listening to community, trying to reflect back what we hear, and then allowing them to choose what they want to go ahead and implement over a year. And then, yes, that 3rd step is the actual implementation phase. Go to the next slide. So here's what we, it's kind of there's a lot of information. And then we wanted, I guess, to the board, I wanted to just identify that we're not going to be going over every slide in this presentation. We wanted to just have, for you all in your own time, to review, maybe prior to the meeting, some of the observations you have from the scorecard. But really, this is an overview. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have after the presentation, or if you'd like to meet or call outside of this time, we'd be happy to do that. So I just wanted to offer that caveat, knowing that you all have a great deal of stuff to get to this evening. Just sort of where we've been, we conducted these community conversations. So we had about 88 attendees over 3 nights in early March in Clinchco, Haysai, and Clintwood. And in the meantime, before that, we were actually doing the scorecard, so working with Dana, Larry, and other folks to get the necessary information to do that. And I'll talk a little bit about what we found. What we've been doing in the meantime since those conversations is distilling it into basically a report that Amanda shared out with all the folks that participated and preparing for these workshops. So we'll talk a little bit about those. There's one on Thursday night in Clintwood, and then one next Thursday also at the same location in Clintwood. And really where we think we're going, we're hoping to go, is that, you know, by the end of next month, we'll have these action items identified that the community has endorsed. We'll have recruited folks to help us, you know, move those along over the course of the year. And then, yeah, beginning in, it's a little over a year of support actually, because of just how quickly we've been able to get to things with Dickinson folks. But yeah, around July 2025, having our first implementation team meeting, and then having that go all the way through September 2026. And there'd be, you know, opportunity obviously to provide interim updates within that time period. And Amanda, you can go actually all the way down to the slide that just has the scores.
Okay, great.
But, oh, I'll do, yeah.
Do you want to go over these quickly? So these are just.
I mean, so.
Mhm. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you're good. If you wanted to touch these, go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, well, yeah, I'm happy to talk about these. So each of these are the categories as part of the scorecard, and so they're each out of either 20 or 30 points. Here's just some of the key findings. So when we're talking about, this is the first category, focusing primarily on coordination, leadership, and policy. We found that, you know, there were clear leadership roles for emergency response and planning, and that the county is also engaging with state and regional agencies on these issues. But some of the gaps or sort of opportunities that we view them as perhaps either gaps is, you know, opportunity for more additional training opportunities for staff and elected officials to strengthen emergency management capacity, as well as enhance, you know, opportunities to collaborate with regional stakeholders and also consider participation in the Community Rating System, or CRS, which is the program associated with the National Flood Insurance Program. We also found that there's a real emphasis on the vulnerable populations within the county, whether that's folks that are in isolated locations or elderly or have some other identified need. We found that there's clear coordination across the county, identifying and reaching out to those folks. And obviously you all have a FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan, which has been adopted in coordination with other localities in the planning district. But we found that, you know, there could be, for example, better engagement with the business community around emergency management and risk preparedness, and also having the opportunity to perhaps update some of the risk assessments and vulnerability assessments to make sure that the data is a little bit more recent. That was a sort of an opportunity that we found in this category. Next slide. Infrastructure. So this identifies sort of both physical and sort of network infrastructure within the county. So we found that obviously there's a good deal of coordination with all the different emergency services in each of the towns, as well as the ones that represent the whole county. And there's active coordination with utility providers and state agencies. So for internet, for power, for water. Water is actually, I guess, provided by the Public Service Authority, but that there is a great deal of coordination that goes into infrastructure. We found that there could be more emphasis on stormwater management within the locality, as well as potentially planning for different opportunities to plan for natural hazard resilience, whether that's flooding, wildfire, or winter storms. So there's some opportunities to improve preparedness for that. This is the fourth of 5 categories. So we found that there is a good deal of resilience-related funding within the CIP, as well as, you know, working with different grants, including the Community Flood Preparedness Fund from DCR, as well as the U.S. ACE 202 program that the county is engaging with, and also that land use protections and standards are currently aligned with FEMA standards. But one of the opportunities is that they could go past that to potentially provide a little bit more protection as far as land use goes. There could also be more clear inclusion of hazard resilience and vulnerability language and analysis within the comp plan, as well as some opportunities around economic impact analysis, resource preservation, and potential incentive programs that have worked in other localities to prevent specifically flood damage. And then our last category is community engagement, health, and well-being. And so we found that there's a good deal of coordination specifically around healthcare, medicine, and food with regional partners, with those healthcare providers, as well as social services personnel. And also locality works with Virginia Department of Health to track physical and mental health indicators. So we found that there was a good deal of data, but some gaps and opportunities is thinking about maybe a more formalized structure for volunteer networks. There's a great deal of obviously phone trees at churches and, neighbors helping one another. We saw that a lot in the February flooding. Perhaps there's an opportunity to formalize some of those into something that could be, replicable across different emergencies, as well as just enhancing public access to hazard information. So thinking about posting, flyers, more different types of flyers within public schools or libraries, really just increasing the public engagement aspect of this work. And so we found the scores out of its percentage out of 108, so easier in each of the categories. And so we found basically there's, according to our scorecard, and I really want to reiterate and emphasize that scorecard might not even be the right word for this. This is really an opportunity analysis. And so these are different standards and different metrics that we found to have increased resilience across different communities in the state. And so this is where sort of our results of the Dickinson scores, and really it's been a cool learning exercise because it informs what we're hopefully going to accomplish over the next year and provides some food for thought for this board, for the county staff to think about what they want to tackle moving forward. So we think of it more as a sort of assessment rather than a scorecard. And so yeah, this is sort of the low, moderate, and high, thinking about within Dickinson, we found, according to the scorecard, a good deal of opportunities for improvement. And this is something that we'll be discussing, at our meeting on Thursday, highlighting some of those potential, some of the things you could do to kind of address some of those, as well as the action workshop where we actually get to, decide, the community gets to decide sort of what happens next. And I think this is you.
All right, I will go over this. So, like Ian said in March, we conducted 3 community conversation sessions because the scorecard is really looking at all of the county ordinances and plans and data, and that's one thing, right? You get a lot of information from that. But it's a totally different perspective to hear from people who live in a floodplain versus just looking at a floodplain ordinance, right? And so that was the purpose for the community conversations. We were very pleased with the turnout in Dickinson, so I want to thank everyone, if anyone's watching, and all of you for spreading the word. We had a phenomenal response to those community conversations. So like Ian said, 88 attendees, and 4 interviews. And normally, I'll just brag on Dickinson for a second. Normally, you get around 20 people to show up in any. We've been doing this across the state for several years, so this is by far the largest turnout in the raft, and so that makes me happy. And so what you'll see is the community sectors represented. We were also very pleased to have a wide range of folks at the table. So we had healthcare folks, education, local government, we had EMS, EMT, fire, police, public safety, economic development folks, environmental folks, social services, tourism, residents, faith leaders, nonprofit leaders. So as you can see, it was really well represented, which makes for, on our end, some really good data, right? We get a lot of different perspectives, not just 1 or 2. So if you'll scroll, if you'll click that link actually and open that report up. Yeah, so if you'll scroll down, what this report has, and you guys all have it, anyone watching or here, if you can access the minutes, you'll be able to click on it. It's an interactive report. So as you kind of click on the pie chart, the percentages will pop up for each of those. If you'll scroll some more and get to the next section. I'm not gonna go over every section. I'm gonna summarize, but I just wanna let you know how we got these answers and how you can read it. So we talked about economic resilience, social resilience, and environmental resilience. And in each of those buckets, we asked folks to kind of discuss what are the economic strengths in terms of resilience of the area where they were, Hayside, Clintwood, or Klitschko. I've taken all those responses, and this is the countywide collaborative data from each of those combined. So economic strengths, risks, what are the risks to resiliency that folks feel is happening? If you'll scroll down, what are the needs? What economic needs do we need to be able to be more resilient? And then what are the opportunities that could really increase our resiliency? Those same questions were asked across the board for social and environmental as well, and all of that information is there. What you'll notice, and I wanted to point out, some of the data has a percentage. Some of the graphs have a percentage, 46%. Some of the graphs, like types of economic development, there's not really a percentage there. There's a reason. The percentages are when I went through every response. So we were recorded, people were sticking it on stickies, they were writing it on notepads. All of the responses, if enough people said the exact same thing, I could count that, right? So, for example, economic needs, improved roads, 46% of people out of all three sessions said that was an economic need. Very explicitly, that term was used, I could quantify that and put it into a percentage. The other ones, people are just in conversation. Sometimes they don't say roads, but they'll say something that has a similar context, right? You have to kind of read and go through the whole paragraph to figure out what's being said. So the results where there's not a percentage, that was me extrapolating, going through and reading all of it in context and saying, okay, I can't say 46% of people said the exact same phrase, but I can say that 87 people or 87 times roads were mentioned. So you'll notice that throughout. We asked a couple of different questions, types of economic development needed. If you'll zoom in for me. Thank you, and scroll down. We are right there. So there was a lot of responses to this, and I will say, you guys will get the raw data with every single response as it was spoken. But looking at the big themes, and the most prominent were housing, outdoor recreation, entertainment, and a big box store, Walmart specifically. If you'll scroll some more, please, or go to page 2, I think. Yep, and then zoom in. So again, these are the social strengths, energy economy at the top. We had some questions about Dickinson County being a leader in energy economy. Historically, coal, what that might look like for the future. These are percentages of responses to each of those on the right-hand side. And then the challenges to energy diversification, but you guys can dig into that on your own if you'll scroll a little bit for me. And then again, the same questions. What are the social strengths to resiliency? What are the social risks that would limit resiliency? You can keep moving. You see some of the same things said throughout all three buckets, right? Improved transportation, housing, addiction, so forth. If you'll scroll, please. Keep scrolling, or page 3, if that's where we are. Thank you. So I hope that you'll take some time and kind of dig into that graphic and see what your friends and neighbors, colleagues, right, and coworkers have to say. But I just want to summarize for you what we found. So across all three sectors and all three meetings, combined, participants shared that there is a strong sense of community in Dickinson, that faith, family values, and scenic beauty are the major strengths of this area. They identified the need for better communication coordination of emergency resources, locally, regionally, and statewide. And I will add a little caveat in there. It's not that the emergency resources we have are not doing their job. I want to say that. It was more that when there's no Wi-Fi or cell coverage and you're trying to get to someone in an isolated area, right? Or how long it might take to be able to coordinate with regional and state. So I just want to say it was not because of a lack of what's happening here already. It's the and, in addition to. Enhanced cell service and Wi-Fi access are an issue, according to the participants. Increased resilience, education, and mitigation efforts are needed for the public, especially around flood and wildfire mitigation. Dickinson needs more youth development programs, according to participants, affordable housing and childcare, and improved access to quality specialized health care. And many of the same issues were identified as risks to resilience, in addition to addiction and mental health challenges, lack of infrastructure, challenging topography and isolation, and inadequate resources for elderly residents. Poor roads and transportation infrastructure was the main concern shared across all sessions in all buckets. Participants strongly noted that better roads are necessary for improved economic, social, and environmental resilience. Specifically highlighting the need for completion of the Coalfields Expressway. And although many challenges were discussed, right, there were a lot of positives that came out of our conversations, and opportunities were also discussed. Capitalize on the culture, history, and geography of the region by promoting ecotourism. Increase local, regional, and statewide emergency response communication and coordination through public education, training, public and officials, and development of a community response task force. Increased workforce pathways, accessible entrepreneurship and small business opportunities, energy diversification. Folks were really concerned about electric bills. Let's be real, right? Rising energy costs. Creation of youth development and volunteer civic leadership programs, and an increase in local activities accessible to all ages and abilities. So our takeaway, and again, you can see the actual data there, but our takeaway from all of this is that the residents of Dickinson County and the participants in our sessions care strongly about this community and are proud of their home and their heritage and want to see Dickinson County thrive. So our next phase, as we move into the next phase of our project, is to really take all of this data, the scorecard and the community session data, and create a list, like Ian had mentioned, of about 10 to 12 opportunities. Now, I'm going to repeat because I'm on camera this time. I cannot build a road. I am not VDOT. So even though we talk about transportation, I cannot get you a road. But we do have resources and network that there are ways that we can provide capacity that some small localities, and different you don't have that capacity to do things. So for us, we will take that list. The county can look over that list, see where some priorities are. And then on next Thursday, we will be holding a session. It's open to the public, so we invite anyone to attend. It is an all-day 9 to 3 session on June 5th, but at that workshop, whoever's there will be looking at that opportunity list, and before we leave, you'll decide what the other 3 to 5 items are that we're going to work with the county and with an implementation team to actually make happen over the next year. And that implementation team will also be decided. You get to self-select for that. We don't pick. The county doesn't pick. So out of who's there at that workshop, you can say, I want to be on the implementation team. And I'll be leading that team for the next year with my colleagues at UVA, and really excited about what can happen. It's sometimes easy for us to say what we can't do and what we don't have money for, but I think this is an amazing opportunity for Dickinson to have some capacity to really get some things done, you know, hopefully 3 to 5, 7 of those. And what we can't work on in that next year, our goal is to be able to pull all of our networks and resources together, and it may not be a raft project, but perhaps some other stuff can get accomplished too in the meantime. So, Ian, do you have any follow-up to that?
No, I don't. Thank you. I think you described it really well, and we're really looking forward to getting. Well, I guess our session on Thursday. Well, Amanda, do you want to talk about that briefly? Or that's all I got.
Okay. So 2 sessions coming up. Next Thursday, June 5th, is that workshop where whoever's there, we're going to work and pick those items that we're going to work on for the next year. This Thursday, so 2 days from now, there will be a public session, an information session where we took the data and we have some folks coming to talk about a number of these opportunities, because it's really hard to make a decision on, oh, we want that, if you don't have all the pros, cons, benefits, challenges, right? Yes?
Where's the meeting gonna be at?
I'll let Larry, it's in this building, so I know
Sure,
they're
it'd be
both here.
Downstairs, across from the treasurer's office where we met last time,
Yep,
at 6:00 PM, so.
yep, dinner starts at 5:15, so come hungry. Dinner will start at 5:15, we'll do the information session, we have folks coming from UVA, Goodwill Industries of Tennessee, Virginia, Firewise with the Department of Forestry, so just to give some information so that the next Thursday, when we're making decisions, we're pretty well informed and have all the kind of pros and cons on some stuff. We'll also be there to answer any questions, and again, it's open to the public, so we invite everyone to both of those. Please feel free to reach out to Larry, anyone on the board, myself, if you have any questions. Yeah, we're happy, and we're really, really pleased and proud. I'm a local girl, so it makes my heart happy to be here and be a part of this project. So thank you all. I'll open, share if there's any questions.
Have any questions?
On your, you had community leadership, education and training for like the community leaders,
Say that again, I'm sorry.
community leaders,
Was it
training.
listed on our thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that came up quite a bit during those sessions, that it would be nice to have some kind of, community. The goal is to increase, that was category 5, right? To increase community involvement and engagement. So maybe not just community voice, but actually a community leadership committee of some sort. And then we have the capacity to help to get one of those started, yeah.
So is that like training leaders to
To be leaders in the community,
recognize
right?
things and how to
spearhead
communicate? and-
committees, or to serve as a lead for a volunteer, like kind of action network, you know,
Yeah.
that's not the exact term, but who calls all the churches, or to be a part of other committees and other planning processes. We do our comprehensive plans for the county, or hazard plans. Having folks that are community identified leaders and leader roles, and that's just regular residents, right? But potentially having that training, yeah, that's part of that. If it gets picked, we don't pick. All we do is identify the opportunities, and so yes, that could be one of the action items.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what that was about.
Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunity to involve community in a variety of ways. One, sometimes can help provide that capacity, right? That elected officials you don't always have. And two, it can really bring different perspectives to the table, and then training, organize that kind of helps keep it where it's functional and also productive.
Yeah. Thank
If that helps.
you. That helped.
Okay.
Amanda, Ian, y'all been great to work with. We're glad to be a part of this. Glad that Dickinson was selected, and that I've really enjoyed working with you, and look forward to the next year and what that brings as far as some of these areas and opportunities that have been identified that we can work to better improve the county, so.
Thank you so much. Well, it's an honor, and I hope we have a great turnout on Thursday and the following Thursday. So thank you all very much for your time tonight. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone else has left the call.
We'll move on to the next item, number 7. Elizabeth Lawson and Josh Newberry, Southwest Virginia Bay South.
So Mr. Newberry wasn't able to make it today. He had a prior commitment. He said he may or may not, just depending on how that worked out. So before I get started, my name is Elizabeth. I have been the director of the VASAP program for about 2 years now. Things are going really well. We have staffing problems. A lot of places do. But, so the reason I'm here is we cover all 7 counties around our area: Lee, Scott, Wise, Tazewell, Russell, Dickinson, Buchanan counties, as well as out-of-state clients that reside in Virginia that get their DUIs out of state. So we have to be here under the Code of Virginia. The ASAPs are required to be here. However, we're not state funded. The state will help us with computers if we need them. They did that about 2 years ago, but they don't give us funding yearly. We are completely reliant on offender funding and county funding to keep our doors open. And right now, we are in a position where I have 1 full-time employee, 1 part-time employee, and myself. So myself, I cover 4 counties alone, as well as trying to keep the doors open. And my other employee, she covers around 4 counties as well. So it kind of is a little bit of an injustice to the counties because each client gets backed up a month. So they can't come in for a month to do an intake to start getting the path to get their license back or get their life back on the road. So I'm here today to ask for funding from you all to keep our program going. That way, clients, we can maybe hire somebody or keep staffing, because staffing is a big issue that I've been having. I went through several part-time people. They stay for a couple months and then they move on. So the staffing issue is a really big thing to try to maybe help people get into VASAP quicker and get their life back on the road, because some people are losing their jobs over getting the DUI and not being able to get their license back within a certain amount of time. If we're not here, if we don't get funding from people, it's tough for some clients to come in and pay the fee, because it is rather expensive. It's $400 for the first DUI, $300 per extra DUI. So it is tough for them to come in, and if we don't have funding bringing in to keep employees' salaries paid, to keep the lights on, we shut down. The next ASAP around us is in Marion, and that's even harder for people, Buchanan County, Dickinson County, to get to Marion than it is to Duffield for the first time. Our classes are offered here in Dickinson County, so they come to the Duffield office once, and then they come back up to Dickinson, to the Behavioral Health, and they do all of their classes here to make it a little easier on them. But if we're not here, their next place that they're going is Marion, and the only issue with that is a lot of those people aren't going to be able to find rides to get to Marion, because it's tough for them to get to Duffield even the first time. And whenever you have that happen, you have your community be without jobs, because they all lose their jobs. They can't get to work, and they go to poverty because they can't provide for their family. I've had several people tell me that they've lost their home because they can't get to work. They've been fired over their DUI and they can't get to work due to this, and then the fees as well. But where we're completely offender funded, your all support would really mean a lot to us, even $5,000 to $15,000, whatever you all would be comfortable with. Every little bit helps to keep our office running.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. How much have you been funded in the past?
We have never had any county funding until the past 2 years. We have requested it from a couple different counties to kind of get the ball rolling. None of the directors in the past have ever really tried to get county funding. So far, we have $5,000 from Scott County, and I believe Russell County's voting on theirs to see if they're going to give us the $5,000 as well. And I know that we're currently waiting on Tazewell to also consider, the amount between 5,000 to 15 as well on a vote. We're waiting on that to hear back from them. So the only one we have for certain right now is Scott County, giving us some funding from that.
Was your office used to be in Big Stone Gate?
It used to be in Norton.
Norton.
We were in a building that didn't have an elevator access, and we were on the second floor. And our rent got cheaper when we moved to Duffield, and now it's also ADA accessible. So we wanted to make sure that every client could get in, because we had a couple incidents where clients couldn't get up the stairs to get to us, and we weren't allowed to do anything on the phone. It all had to be in person, so we did move to Duffield for that reason.
How many clients do you have a month?
I'm not sure per month, but in 2024, we serviced 534 clients out of the 8 counties.
534?
Yes.
You don't have that broken down per county, do you?
Not per county, but Dickinson County, I do have, we had roughly 30 clients sign up, that were from Dickinson County. Now that just is the ones that got convicted in Dickinson. That may be a higher number of people that live in Dickinson County, but got their DUI in Wise County. It goes by which conviction county they're in on our program, on which, the numbers of it.
All right, more questions? Thank you.
All right, I really appreciate your all's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Dixon County Public Schools.
Mr. Chair, I'll take that one. I had spoken, of course, Ms. Robinson sent a letter to us, and it's included in your packets. And I'd spoken with Ms. Compton, the food service director at the schools, and this one had kind of snuck up on them. They were thinking that based on the changes to the law, they were going to have one extra year till 2026 to comply. And of course, the schools, as part of the Sam's Co-op, you know, the schools in this region come together for buying power and bid items out. And with everything happening so quickly, the styrofoam items that they use right now are sometimes the styrofoam trays in times when there's staffing issues or water dishwasher issues, and they have to change over to the styrofoam. And they use some styrofoam bowls that are used in the morning for gravy and sometimes for soups during lunch. And they have sampled some items, and the whole co-op are searching right now for alternatives to the styrofoam that can be used that are affordable and that will hold up. The trays they've looked at so far are just not sturdy enough for the students to be able to carry safely. And so with this bill that was passed, the locality can issue a 1-year exemption for them. So you can, and that's what they're asking for, is a 1-year exemption, to give them additional time for the co-op to find additional time for suitable replacements, suitable alternatives to use on that. So, you know, if the board would consider that, you know, granting them a 1-year exemption to this ban.
I think we should grant them a 1-year extension.
How did you? Gonna make the
They are
I'll make
currently
that
working.
motion that we grant them a 1-year extension.
And I'll second it.
Okay, the motion is second. All in favor?
Uh,
Aye as well.
Can that be extended again?
You can. But they have to apply for it before the last 1-year exemption's up. So this 1-year exemption would be from July 1st to June 30th. They would have to apply to the locality for another exemption prior to June 30th.
How many are they allowed?
The code doesn't specify.
It doesn't.
I don't think,
So it
but
can be in
they have to,
perpetuity?
well,
It's
they
in
have to
1-year
show.
increments.
Can they use that, I know they have an extensive dishwasher up there. Do they, use this instead of the dishwasher?
No,
It's
normally they
just
use
in
trays
case.
every day, but there's times that there may be a water issue, or
Yeah.
dishwasher, or a staffing issue that requires styrofoam tray. They're not used very often, but they do keep them on hand for when they are needed, so. But like I said, daily, they do use the bowls for gravy in the mornings and for soups when they do have soups, so. And initially with the ban through DEQ, you've probably seen some of the advertisements. It's food vendors that are 20 or more locations within the first phase, and then it applies to all food vendors, so
Imagine it's an environmental impact thing.
it is. It is through DEQ is what it's through.
It sounds like DEQ.
So they're looking for something besides styrofoam.
They are.
Why not paper? Seems like that would be better. They can find it, I'm sure.
All right. We'll move on to new business.
Mr. Chair, in item A, the engagement letter from Robinson Farmer Cox Associates. RFC prepares our annual county audit each year. They do that for the county, the school division, DSS, behavioral health, and all of our subsidiaries. Each year, we have to sign an engagement letter with them, and it spells out the responsibilities that the auditors have and what our responsibilities are. It gives their scope and objectives, their price, their timeline, everything in that. And so that is included in your packets, and we are asking for approval for that to allow them to do our audit again this year.
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve that engagement letter for Robinson Farmer Cox and Associates.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second.
The only change is the price of the increase sum is anticipated, based on what we have in our budget, so. But the scope of everything remains the same.
Any more discussion?
Sorry, Chair.
That's all right. All in favor?
Thank you all. Item B in your packets is the refund of purchase price for land sale. And of course, I know since my tenure here, we've had this happen on several occasions, but there was some land purchased at a tax sale by James K. Stanley and Bobby K. Stanley for $8,000. And through this, in their research, they have researched and provided information that Mr. Sturgill has reviewed. They've had a survey and legal work done, and it shows that this is a duplicate tract of land that someone else actually owns and has been paying taxes on this. It was not a delinquent piece of property. And so the Code of Virginia spells out that we are required, the burden of proof is on the buyer, but we do have to refund them their purchase price of $8,000. We're just asking your permission to refund that. Everything is included in your
That was a
package.
bad
all the
mistake because it was in entirely different locations.
two totally different locations.
But I make a motion that we refund the purchase price.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? As well.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, as we move on to item 9C1, the board has two options here that you can choose, and it's totally up to the board which direction you want to go with this. But as you're aware, with the roundabout, the Route 83-637 roundabout that will be going out to bid later this summer, we run into the issue with the gas line relocation that we've talked about. And with that timeline, there's a pretty tight timeline to get everything done to, get this out to bid. The project is currently out to bid right now, and the bids close June the 5th at 2 o'clock, which is next Thursday. We'll be having a bid opening. And in order to meet the timeline with VDOT to get this awarded and the work done so that everything's done by their August timetable, then we'll need to award that quickly. So you can either A, choose to recess today's meeting, and then you can reconvene maybe on Friday the 6th at a chosen time to award this contract, or B, you can, and Mr. Sturgill will correct me if I'm wrong on any of this or jump in, but B, we'd ask that you give us the authorization to award this contract to the low bidder, provided that it's within budget, and the county attorney has reviewed it, and the county engineer has reviewed it. So, and again, this is just in order to meet the timeline imposed upon us by VDOT to get this project complete. So whatever the pleasure of the board is on this, we can do either one.
I'll make a motion, we give you the authority. Is it you?
It would be after what we're asking those, if we
Is
do
this
that,
the
then she
removal of the
would.
gas line? Is that what you're talking
It is,
about? Not the
yes.
roundabout?
Replace it.
No, the gas line to relocate it,
Yeah.
but
Well,
we would
that's
ask
the
that,
quickest way, wouldn't it be to give you the authority to
it would
do
be the
it?
quickest way, but I would ask that it was only after, it's within budget, which would be the budget
Well,
we
yeah.
have or what the school's contributing with it. And, after Mr. Sturgill has reviewed it and the county engineer has reviewed it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion, that you have the authority to do that.
And we'll
But-
share that out with you as soon as it's
Will,
received.
will you let us know?
As soon as it's received, we'll share that with you, or the multiple bids, whatever it is we receive that Thursday, we'll send them out to you.
Okay, thank you.
So they have to move, so the bid for the roundabout's not still in August, right?
It is, that's when
But
they're
this is
advertising
up for
that.
June to
It has to be done.
relocate the gas line.
Gas
Yes.
and water in it. Is
Well,
it
the
both?
water's gonna be part of the roundabout itself, but the gas has to be done before they go out
Before
to
they
bid.
give it to start,
Mhm.
yes.
Any more discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Now we're down to, 9D, Logan McCown.
We would ask you and our staff to come up if they'd like to come with you. As Logan's coming forward here, very appreciative of Logan and the work he's done. If you'll recall, a little less than a year ago, he came to us with a solution to a problem that we had with the changes in the CDL training, and Logan has done the certifications to be able to teach this class and to do all the reporting to the federal agencies on this and several students. And he's here this evening with a couple other full-time employees or other employees we have here to share what they've done here recently. So Logan.
Thank you. I just want to come before the board and recognize the guys that took our entry-level driver training class. In 2022, they changed the laws as far as getting your CDL. Used to that you just had to go take your knowledge tests at the DMV. You got learners. You had to hold it for only like a couple weeks, and then you could go take a test, the road test. 2022, they changed the law so that all new CDL drivers had to have entry-level driver training, which consists of a classroom portion as well as on-the-road training and another on-the-road portion called range, where they learn certain backing maneuvers and stuff like that. But I just want to come before the board and recognize these guys. We had to do it on Saturdays. They sacrificed a lot of time, and never once did they complain. I never heard anything from them. They were just really good, wanted to do it and worked hard. So I'd like to recognize Scotty Grasnick and James Stanley, and there's two other ones that aren't here. That's Roger Trevino and Clint Stanley.
Okay.
But I just wanted to recognize them, and I'd like to thank Larry for all the help and making sure I had everything I needed, as well as Travis and Darrell. They were very supportive.
Good,
That's all I
good.
got.
Wonderful.
We appreciate y'all,
All
thank you.
right. Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we
Thanks,
appreciate all
guys.
y'all. Keep up the good work. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next we're down to appointments. We have a Public Service Authority appointment.
Mr. Chair, you've got two appointments on this. Of course, we had a resignation from the PSA board. Mr. Grant Belcher, who represented the Sand Lake District, had sent a resignation letter on May 13th, and our clerk, Ms. Lyles, included that in her packet. So first order of business would be to nominate a replacement from him. And of course, these next agenda items, we're just doing appointments, so therefore, we don't need a motion in a second. Motions or nominations are actually voted on in the order that they're received on this, so.
Okay. That's in my district. I'd like to nominate Ramona Duncan.
Who?
Ramona Dunn.
Ramona Duncan.
Richard, why did you just say Richard?
Do we need to
Ramona
vote at the same
Duncan, I
time,
think.
or-
Separately.
Ramona Duncan.
Who's Ricky Sam Edwards? Isn't he in your, is that?
He's Irvington.
Oh,
He's
that's
Irvington
he.
District. Is Gary Harlan yours?
I'd like to nominate him to take it. Will you take it? PSA, why don't you take PSA?
I'd rather have somebody from the community.
Thank could make a real good one down there.
No more you can wait later.
I nominate you to take
It's all time. All right.
it. Do you want to take it?
No, that's okay.
Shelby, you can nominate him, and then if the first motion fails, then we'll vote on that one. So,
I'd like to nominate Richard to take the PSA appointment.
I'm here
I
too.
think he'd be a good appointment down there.
Here are two nominations, so.
Good.
We meet at 12 o'clock. Would that interfere with you?
All right. How do we do this now? Nominate, the first nomination?
Yeah,
You
take
vote
the
on the first one, yes.
All right. All right. Vote on, all in favor of Mona Duncan.
Gonna do a roll call or do it all?
You don't have to, he
Okay.
can, but.
Aye.
Aye.
I mean, I really don't know which way to vote. I mean, if it's his district appointment and he isn't really caring about serving, then I wouldn't care to vote for Ramona, but then I don't care to vote for you either. So, I mean,
I just wanted to put somebody from the community into the position.
okay, then I'll vote aye.
What'd you say, Peggy?
She voted for Richard. I mean, she voted for Ramona Bell. Ramona.
You sure you don't want it, Richard?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
Is that Mona who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll vote aye.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and vote aye if Richard won't take it.
All right, thank you.
Mona do a good job for you, Richard, so.
Yeah, I'm sure she will.
Yeah, I mean, that was a hard vote. It's not that I don't want to vote for you, but if you don't really want it.
I think he wants it.
Okay. Now we got another.
And then we also, Ms. Lyle included, we got Mr. Harless's term expires on August 8th, and we've been trying to put these on just a little earlier to request the prior board, so.
He is.
I'd like to
That'd be Wilson's
nominate Jerry
year.
Harless again.
I would go along with that because he's a great asset to our board.
I think so.
Okay. Any other nominations? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all right.
Where we at now?
The Cumberland Industrial Facilities, the SIFA board.
Mr. Chair, on 10B, the SIFA, we refer to it as SIFA sometimes, the Cumberland Industrial Facilities Authority. That's a regional industrial facilities authority. And right now, Mr. Ron Peters, his term expires July 26th. And then Ms. Peggy Kaiser is on there, and hers expires July 26th of 2027. Now, this currently is not an active board. We've not met.
2.5 years?
Help me on this, 2.5 years, probably. It's
Probably
been a long
2.5
time.
years.
I
It's
know
been a while.
a couple times recently they've circulated some dates trying to get a meeting, but nothing's ever really become of it. It's not really an active board. There's not a lot moving, unlike the Lonesome Pine Industrial Facilities Authority, the RIFA that we call it. We're meeting regular and a lot of things are happening. Not saying that nothing can't with the SIFA, but normally this is a board member. I don't think the bylaws require that it has to be, so it can be anybody. Probably would be best if it is a board member, since it does relate to industrial development and knowing what's going on in the county. So this person would be to serve, Mr. Peters' term when it expires on July 26th and 25.
Didn't Rhonda have that and then she gave it up and gave it to
She had
him?
initially, and then she gave
Do
it
you want
up
it
to.
back?
Well, I don't even know if we want to participate in this.
Well, that's what he said, we hadn't done it for a while,
It's
so.
not been an active board. We've not met in Peggy's probably right 2.5 years.
Probably. It's been.
Oh, are they meeting
So since
without
fall
us
of
being there?
20.
I don't care to be on it, but I don't
Two.
think it's a very good
I'm
board.
gonna nominate Rhonda to be on it.
I don't think it's a good board.
Any other
Unless
nominations?
anybody else wants it. Anybody else want it?
Anybody else can have
You
it
want
too. They can have it if they want.
While we're at this, can we also make a motion, and I'll ask our attorney, that once you're off of this board, that your term would automatically end. Can you do that on that?
Their bylaws don't specify that.
They don't specify that?
The bylaws do not specify that. The bylaws of the Cumberland Industrial Facilities Authority, you know, a lot of bylaws will specify it has to be a Board of Supervisors member, and then if so, if the bylaws specify that, then if you're no longer a board member, then, we have to
You come
reappoint
off,
someone
yeah.
else, but.
I've seen that on a couple.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But these bylaws, it just says that you're appointed, I mean, it's an
You're
appointment.
appointed for,
Correct,
is
correct.
it 2 year?
It's a
Four-year
four-year
term.
term.
4 year.
Correct. So it doesn't matter whether you're on the board, not on the board. Basically, you appoint somebody and it's probably, like Larry said, better for a board member, but it's not a requirement.
This CIFA is Dickinson,
Yeah, I know who it
Buchanan,
is.
Russell, and Tazewell, and I think the other board members are Board of Supervisor members,
All but one.
all but one. Is that
You've got Russell County has the mayor.
the mayor of
Lebanon on there.
Lebanon on it? Yeah,
But I
and the
think
rest
it's
of
on
them are
the-
board members from the counties.
Her
Correct.
husband's
Yeah.
on the board. No, Mayor of Homeacres one.
That's,
I was
Tony,
wrong.
Tony Doty is the,
I don't care to be on it, but I think it's.
All right, any other nominations?
I'm
All
not
in
gonna
favor?
nominate myself, but I would like to say that I have been talking to Will Moorfield and some of our counterparts in the other counties about this board. And I think I would like to serve on it. I'm not gonna nominate myself, but.
Well, I'll nominate you.
it's-
I'll nominate Mr. Hall to serve on that board.
I knew you had it one time, but I didn't know you still had, but that's okay.
Did you run?
Huh?
You didn't really run.
No, I didn't want it, no way.
so I guess you.
Can I withdraw Rhonda's
You
nomination?
can withdraw the nomination.
I'll withdraw her, she doesn't win anyway.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other nomination?
I'm already on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
As well.
Congratulations, Chris.
Yep. We have that to where Dickinson isn't replacing both people at the same time and coming in. That way you got rolling knowledge.
You
know.
need to do that.
Yeah,
On
that's why that works
PSA
like that.
board,
Yeah.
that nomination would only fill out Grant's term.
Yes, on the PSA, correct, yes. That expired term of Grant
You see, when did his expire?
is, August 8th of 28.
Oh,
He was
Richard
just
recently
reappointed,
reappointed him.
yeah.
oh, okay.
I think that Ron reappointed him before he left the board, didn't he?
Yes, I believe you're right. Okay.
All right, next we have the resolution on the proposed 6-year plan.
We just have to pass what they presented,
Based on what
so
they
I make a
presented, yes,
motion that we, pass the proposed secondary plan that, VDOT proposed us this afternoon.
I know one thing, there's sure not a whole lot of money that
No,
Dickinson
it
County
sure
gets.
isn't.
If the
Very
state,
little.
if the
Where's the
state
shaft?
has 25 million for unpaved roads for the state.
Well, that's
and-
always through the state of Virginia.
Yeah. And then Dickinson County only gets 90, that's a,
We don't have that many roads that's unpaved, really.
no, he said it's just 10 to 15 miles.
I don't see why they have to take it down, the Scott County's getting a lot of money to have theirs done.
I think he said they
They
got
have
200 and
so
some
many.
They had a
miles.
lot of farm stuff.
They have a lot of unpaved roads.
No, the 6-year plan is not just unpaved roads, I don't think, is it?
That's what's in the packet there. There's a couple other
Yeah.
things, just mainly that's, well, and
And we don't really have a whole lot of options.
there's not a lot on there at all because we
No,
don't have.
2 roads, I think. Okay. Did we get a second on that?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the proposed 6-year plan, the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. All right, next, we have the addendum item 11B, resolution for the Community Development Block Grant
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And of course, that's in your addendum packet here. And it's basically saying Dixie County is applying for the CDBG block grant 2024 grant funding urgent need. It's part of our flood resiliency project and gives me authorization to sign the necessary paperwork, so.
Okay.
I make a motion that we pass this resolution.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to pass this resolution for the community development block grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. All right, now we're down to other business. Schedule a public hearing.
I make a motion that we schedule that public hearing for Board of Supervisors salary ordinance. We make a killing.
That's for June the 24th, 2025 at 5:55 p.m.
Yep.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. All right, down to supervisor comments.
It may take more than 5 minutes, reckon.
No.
Might take 2 minutes.
They take 10. Chris, you lead us off?
Sure. Something on my mind was this raft thing, that we had the presentation from Amanda today. And I think this is a great, great thing to have the community involved in making decisions that's gonna happen in the county. I've been very impressed with her and this program so far, and if you can, please come out and attend this event coming up and let your voice be heard and kind of be a part of the process. You know, we all gotta work together to make this community work and prosper. So that takes public and private input. I just think that's really important.
And as you can tell by her presentation, they listen to everything. They take into consideration all your thoughts and ideas and that. Yeah, and it was good. I just thank everybody hope everybody had a wonderful Memorial Weekend. The weather probably wasn't the best to be out yesterday, but hope everything was safe in the county and all that. Congratulations to all the graduates last Friday night for moving on. And just hope everybody has a good June. Be back here to work next Tuesday, I guess, for a little while.
Willis?
What's happening? What is this ribbon
Public
cutting?
hearing on the budget is next
5
Tuesday.
o'clock on the 3rd.
What's the,
It's a public hearing on the budget at 5.
Yeah.
what day is it?
The June the 3rd, wasn't it, the
Mhm.
3rd? June the 3rd. I'll write my calendar.
I was gonna look at mine.
I'd just like to say how impressed I was with what Logan has done.
Yes.
That was a great step up, and step up those employees that they sacrificed their time and was interested enough in trying to get their CDLs.
They done a great job.
Have they already got them, or are
They
they,
did.
they,
All
those
got 'em.
4 of them has got them?
Yes.
Well, that's wonderful.
And for Logan for wanting to teach it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Logan to take
Yeah, he
the
took the
Saturdays to
initiative
teach her.
determine what was needed to get certified to be able to do that, so.
Yeah. But I appreciate them. I
Yeah.
appreciate what they do up there, because it's a job that not everybody wants. And I appreciate all my fellow supervisors and ladies also.
Oh, Friday night, is there some kind of ribbon cutting Friday at 4?
There's something down at the White Star.
I don't have anything on my calendar, I don't know. I've not been made aware if there is.
Well, I just wanna,
There was
thank
something
you.
down at the White
I
Star.
hope everybody had a good I've been watching a lot of movies on World War One, Two, and Vietnam War. I don't know why I'm hooked on them, but I just think it's so wonderful, and I'm so thankful for these young men that gave their lives, that we could have freedom, and gave up their lives. It's just beyond my comprehension, and I want to wish well wishes to Dana Cronkite that she heals quickly. Wish her the best, and I hope everybody has a safe and very good summer.
All right, I'd just like to thank everybody on the board for all the hard work and the boards that you do sit on in your time. Seems like we spend a lot of time at these meetings, and I just thank everybody. I thank all of our county employees. I noticed at the beginning of our meeting here, the fire department's tones went off and they had to jump up and leave. We had a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, I saw that they left. I figured they all had
Yeah,
stuff.
they had a structure fire, so wish that family the best, whatever happened there. And that's all I have. I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well.